Good morning, everybody. I'm George the Antique Nomad, and well, I woke up this morning to this horrible realization. Something has happened to my van. It has become empty. So I think that means we have to go shopping, right? Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go! Shopping today is going to be at this year's 400-mile yard sale. It is really fun. It is a statewide sale in Kentucky that goes east to west. A lot of people know the Highway 127 sale, the big one that goes through several states north to south, but this one goes the other direction across Kentucky, and it has always proven to be really great. There's fun things out there. People come from all over and set up in fields and on the roadside, and they rent out schools and gymnasiums, and every little town seems to do something. So we're going to go see what we can find, and maybe that van will be full again by the time we come home. So the first stop is Consignment World Antiques and Stuff in Cadiz, and they have a bunch of people in the parking lot outside. I did a video from inside here before, but I think they're having some sales there too. So let's take a look and see what's out here. Good old fan here. That one is 55. It's got good green paint. Good morning. Yeah. Good, how are you? Household Hints and Tom Sawyer. I like these cards made out of the old Pepsi crates. That's kind of a clever idea. Well, let's see what's over here at the dollar sale. I guess everything on these tables is $1. So if there's anything vintage or interesting, well, $1 is certainly a good price. Ooh, lavender Melmac.
Does it say Melmac, does it? It's Texas ware.
Texas ware, yeah. But Texas ware actually is Melmac. The spotted, speckled ones are the ones people really like. You can see where these have faded a little. Otherwise, I'd get it because that's a great color.
This one's fine, but this one's faded.
I noticed that too, yeah, unfortunately. Then there's a bunch of stuff from flight operations. Now this is where you can make some money. It's all $1.
The rest of it.
And yet, first of all, you have an old Air Force base in New York. There may be people who served there who would have an interest in that. And then you have stuff from, like, here's an Eastern Airlines DC-8 flight manual. This is for flying a frickin' huge airplane, man. I mean, this is interesting stuff. I think somebody's going to want this, so I actually want to buy this entire box full. Eastern Airlines was a huge big deal airline. Eddie Rickenbacker, the World War I ace, was the original founder and guy behind all that. And you know what? This is just really interesting. So yeah, I'm going to take this. There are collectors for these. This is for ABCB. This one was the Miami convention. There is some interest in these older ones. Today's planning is tomorrow's program. ABCB convention, 1958. That one's Atlantic City. This one's Detroit. I'm going to take all of those. Now, Hager, like everybody else, sometimes made factory seconds, and this one they were kind enough to mark second quality. It's from 1990. Let's see if we can find why it's a factory second. Is it a glaze flaw? Is it a skip in the glaze? Or is it just that they made too many of this one and wanted to do some overruns? I think it's because the side is a little uneven there. It's also missing its lid, or else I'd buy it, because it's a thing to hold your box of Kleenex or facial tissue in. Facial tissue sounds like skin to me. So since we already found something really amazing, I think, at the very first stop, we can slow down and take a look at everything else. This is quite old. It's Victorian, and this is an original swan. This is not a hen-on nest. This is a creamer, but unfortunately it's damaged there and missing its lid. It's Victorian era though. This is a napkin holder by Morgan, and it's lucite, and it says napkins, and I don't know, this is very 70s. I think I'll take that for $1. Why not? We do get a lot of folks who shop from all over the place here. It's just awesome. Trailers full of more stuff. Here's one of these silly 70s figures with the sayings, "Lay down, I think I love you." They generally are a little bit tawdry. This one I think is raspberry. Yes, there's the label on the bottom. Unbreakable because they're made essentially of a rubberized plastic and filled with sand, I believe. R&W Berries Company's 1970. Absolutely tacky, and people are starting to collect them. Well, I'm going to skip on the Canterbury Tales.
You sure?
I think I am, yeah. After reading a bit of it, it's a little over my head. But the Hillbilly Outhouse, on the other hand, is exactly the kind of tacky kitsch that I like. So this is very high style. You open the door and he spins around and greets you. I don't get high points for class in this particular video, but believe me, we'll see some really wonderful, lovely things that I'm sure are of great import and weight at some point during this shopping trip today. People are still buying old bowling balls, especially if they're funky colors, because they're using them as lawn decor now, believe it or not. This one is a fairly funky color. It might be worth getting. If it's $1, I'll get it. It says $5 on it though, and I don't think I want to pay $5 just because it's a big heavy object, not because that's not a good price. The bag's cute too. Little golden books and golden guides are something that I'll pick up for $1 because they sell for $3 or $4 or $5, and there is interest. Alright, so there's the pile. I think those airline books are going to prove to be very, very good. There's Consignment World. They're having sales today, so who knows. So this piece is made by Rosenthal. It does have their etched mark in the middle. I really need to find out a little more about who they're working with glass. Somebody is asking $100 on eBay, they're asking $40 here. It'd be interesting to find a completed sale to see if that's a good deal. Nyloke is out of Arkansas, and it is kaolin, spelled backwards. Kaolin was one of the ingredients in their clay in Arkansas. Oh my, and then, well, there was this. I think the elephant is cuter. And there's the other planter du jour, but I think of all of them that the elephant is the one to want. Oh, and Rock'em Sock'em Robots. A friend of mine at his wedding danced just like the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Poor guy. Those are definitely 1930s Depression glass, and
they're
$4 a piece. You know, they're worth probably $6. But $4, there's not really a lot of room. But that is the block optic pattern, those little sherbets. And they were one of the most commonly made patterns. Interesting. See how these, I'm glad you're showing us this, because see how those don't glow? They are the same era. Depression glass, it really depended on the batch, whether they put a lot or a little or none. So you really have to use your black light. Two pieces in the same pattern may or may not glow.
Yeah, right here. Glow or not?
I would say no, even though they look like they're practically glowing now. Yep, see, no uranium glass. That is a very good example, again, of why you have to bring your black light. You cannot just guess.
This.
Okay, now this is a surprise. You do not always get glow out of jadeite, but this one, again, this particular batch, they used uranium, and there you go, because it's partly a custard type of glass, and a lot of custard glows. Not all custard does, not all jadeite does, but there's a piece that does. That's, I believe, by McKee Company, so this is 1930s jadeite rather than the 50s. The Fire King does not glow. And here's a new piece of glass, and it does not glow either.
The streaked bubbles.
Yeah, that looks like something made in Eastern Europe, and no uranium. There are some colors of amber that fluoresce, only a few. This is not one of them. It's usually a little more honey root beer colored, and it's very specific. Very little of it does, but a little bit of it. They wanted a greenish cast, so they put a little bit of that uranium in. Well, this is certainly beaten now, but this is only $35, and it is an old pedal car. It has age, because look at the style there. Because it says turbo, Turbo is something that we see a lot of in real cars in the 1980s. And this guy's missing his steering wheel, so he needs a lot of help. But for $35, he'd be a fun project or something cool just to look at if it was for a display. You hear the expression, building a better mousetrap. Well, I'm not sure what they were trapping with this, but look at this old trap, hand-hewn, using twigs and boards and whatever it was. I'm sure that the bait is in here, and that when they take the bait, then bam, the door falls and they're stuck. Very simple, very ingenious, pioneer technology. So this space, which was already half off, is 75% off for this weekend. So let's see if we can find anything vintage, because it will be a bargain if we do. I see a Sirocco wood pair of shelves down there. Those are candidates.
This.
Looks like Japanese stoneware.
What are those orange things? Second shelf.
These I think are newer.
They
These
have rubbery tops.
Yes, yeah, these are pretty new, but these cups and saucers are German from, I believe, the 70s. And they're certainly cheap enough, but I have cups and saucers galore, so let's look at these shelves. Okay, well, if I'm reading this right, it's $15.99 minus 75% off.
Glitter alert.
So at 75% off, they're going to be $4 each. Well, that's certainly inexpensive enough for those. They do have the label, and you can feel, more than you can tell looking, that these are the wood ones, so these are going to be late 50s, early 60s before they start really getting into the injection molding. Another one of the small California pottery companies, this one is Covina Pottery out of the Los Angeles area, and it's got a very good mark. Not all their stuff is marked, but this is. And the wall pocket is kind of a nice color. It is $15, which for a simple leaf to me is probably about where it should be. Jiffyware, wow. Okay, that's a name I haven't really seen before. Sebring, Ohio. So that was probably related to the Royal Copley, Spalding, Royal Windsor companies, or else it was right down the street. This one, on the other hand, is a little older. This is Hall China for General Electric. And for $6, yeah, we'll take that. All right, well, the sign says big sale today, and take a look there. They are not kidding. This is a big sale, all right. It looks like they've got everything from little vehicles and maybe a dune buggy, and it's a great old house. Look at that fish scale roof on that. This neat old house that is hosting this pretty crazy sale that we're gonna go take a look at. Ashtray is, oh, okay, I think that's California. That's very 50s looking.
YouTubing?
Yeah, I do something called the Antique Nomad. That looks like maybe Rio Hondo or one of the California makers. So, wow, we're finding some stuff. And then this is the Man Zone, and he's got some cool stuff too, just a different feel, that's all. Harley stuff. Looks like some pocket knives over here.
Yeah. And we got that
Old straight razor.
from Bon Jovi.
Actually, this one's a newer one.
Bon
Tomahawk.
Jovi,
Good quality though.
Rio. Barkley.
Old scooter is $25, and then we've got a Lion by Washburn. This was a cheap version of the Flying V and some of the other famous guitars of the 1980s. This one is kind of a basket case, but it's a cool look to hang on the wall for $35. And apparently, well, somebody was sort of punky, or thought they were. First aid box is $20 for gas casualties only, so this is something a little more unusual. It's the U.S. Army Medical Department. It's hard to see though. It's a little too worn to be worth the price, I'm afraid. Concrete deer. Boy, even without the horns, these do sell nowadays, but they're big and heavy. $15, it's a great price, but you haul, you fix, you figure it out. Neat little Duncan Fife harp-shaped table there. And actually they've got some other antiques. Looks like a nice old 1920s or 30s mahogany pineapple cut bed set up there. When I was a kid, our neighbor had a dune buggy and would take me out sometimes, and it was really fun, and this reminds me of it. His was made out of the remains of a 48 Chevy. This is a pretty short wheelbase. I don't know what they made it from, but you can find anything on this tour, even this Subaru little mini truck, which, well, This is for parts only, but you know what? It's an early one. I think these were coming out in the early 70s when Subarus just started to be sold in America. I'd like to ask you, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It does help us. Lets YouTube know that there's interest out there. And if you're interested in memberships, well, there's various benefits depending on the level, and you can click the join button above, or if you don't see that, go to the link in the description. And if you'll click that bell, if you are subscribed, then you'll be notified of future videos and we'll get to see you there. Join us in the chat. We're always premiering every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we look forward to seeing you there and in comments. And now let's get back to this video. Well, that last stop said it was an estate sale. It didn't have very much stuff, and I didn't film there, but I did find one thing. And besides, it's better to find it out in nature, right? Because it is Pine Cone by Fenton. This is a 5 5/8 inch dish from about 1910. The color is cobalt on the bottom, so it's considered to be blue carnival glass. The iridescence is pretty nice. It's in pretty good shape. It does bother me that they put the price tag right in the middle of it, because if you use an ammonia cleaner, that and that stickum will definitely leave a mark and ruin the piece. But I think if I use a hairdryer or or Goo Gone and let it soak, I should be able to very gently get that off. You do not want to scrub on carnival glass. Again, that finish you see is sprayed on. It is not in the glass, so you will ruin it if you use the wrong stuff or scrub it with anything really abrasive. This is busy. A lot of people are out for the sale this year. We're on Highway 6880 in western Kentucky. We're right by Land Between the Lakes, and this is Lake Barkley. I was here a few years ago when this original Egner's Ferry Bridge had its last hurrah because it got run into by a Foss tugboat and barge. And it weakened the center span, so they built an entirely new bridge. And it's very modern. Oh, I remember this place from last year. This is the Hitching Post. And if you saw my video, I talk all about this great place that was a roadside attraction right in 1941 when they were just starting to build all of this for the Tennessee Valley Authority. I love that they pushed the car up, but mainly I'm interested in shopping, so let's see what they've got here, because they've got a couple of vendors. Michigan license plate from a car that quit being used in '82. Smold horns, iron pulley, mostly new tools and stuff at this place. I do see a Fenton shoe in the middle of it all, and this might be one of these things where it's cheap because it doesn't belong here. This is Carnival, later than the piece I just showed you, of course, because look at the difference in the shine. It really shows in the sun. This is very puddle with an oil slick kind of shiny. Car here is a 1949 Plymouth.
It's going to be out all weekend.
And this one's a little bit older. So let's see what they've got down here. Bunch of cast iron. You know, you always want to look at the bottoms of those and see who you've got to see if any of them are worth cleaning up and fixing. It looks like a treasure craft horse galloping into my life again, and this is a very nice find, thank you. He does have one little glaze flaw here. Now that was a rubbed glaze, and because it was a rubbed glaze, that can be restored, and I can sell it as restored properly. So I am going to try to get it. These lamps are glamorous 60s versions of glamorous lamps from the 19 teens and 20s, particularly her. She's quite lovely, but she is a later one. And the reason we know that is we can look at the base and the way that the casting is. And these were very typical castings on bases in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. If you look at the patterning, it's not as deep as Victorian would be. And if you look at a lot of these, you're just going to see this over and over. Another clue, if it is the original and not rewired, is to look at the cord. That's definitely a 1960s vintage type of cord. Ooh, hood ornament. A little bit of pitting and corrosion, but it's a neat shape. I have to find out about that. That's really actually, I like it a lot. Like the design, early 50s, but I'm not sure what car. These came over with the fellows who were stationed over there during Vietnam, Korea, and Japanese occupation. $50 to me is about right, however. Oh, that's kind of cool with the bees.
It's Noritake.
It's Noritake, really? Oh, that's cool. I've not seen that piece of theirs before, so let's see the mark. That's awesome. Well, we'll see what he wants because he's got a bunch of Japanese 1930s era wall pockets. A whole lot of the black ones. Yeah, he does have some old stuff. He was not kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. I would get this.
I think it's the best one on the whole table. I agree with you.
That is a 1224
Old concertina or accordion, but it's not in good shape. Let's see what's in this box. You know, when I see a cord coming out of a box, it could be something that's really obsolete that nobody cares about, or it could be something really great that's really obsolete. Oh, and this one's a record player. Well, so that's sort of in the middle somewhere because people are using these again, just to test vinyl and that sort of thing. But I think as much as there's cool stuff, thank you. As much as there is cool stuff here, I think I've found the pieces that have the most interest to me. I'm gonna see maybe about this guy too.
Remember what time it is as well.
Yeah. And he's got some bronzes of eagles and things here. These are pretty cool. Really, all this up here? Neat. The Lone Sailor Monument from Washington, D.C. Lincoln statue. Yeah, it's cool to see old stuff. This is the fun of coming out to this, is you never know what you'll find, and this is a big mix of a lot of different things. I even like this, not so much as it is currently, but if it was painted, I don't know if that mural clean up, but this could be rather modernist if it was presented correctly. So let's see what we can do here. Oh yeah, that comes right off. It's just been very badly stored. Maybe he'll go cheap on it. Here's a place I haven't been, Cozy Cove Waterfront Resort Callahan Motor Sales lot. So we're going to check this out. This house over here is having a sale, but it looks mostly like clothes. Let's see what's over here. Now this place has a bunch of old tools and stuff. I'm not sure if they're for sale or if it's just the clothes. It's a little nebulous. I see a canopy. That might be something of use. A dining canopy, that could be an extra tent at a sale. I'm having an estate sale soon, I might need more room. Okay, so they're still in business, and so look for these wider mesh. You're not looking for China, you're looking for Whiting and Davis, and this keychain has their mark right on it. This is going to be 1980s or later, but it is the real deal. And because of that, for $2, I think that's 2 or 1 or 7. Doesn't matter, I would pay any of those prices for this. So if you've ever heard the term kitsch, this is a great example of kitsch. This is fabulous Las Vegas, and you can tell by the sparkly stuff and the clear plastic dice that this was made in the 80s, because look, the quartz movement is made in the USA. Hopefully this works. It's $5. I'm going to give it a shot because these actually do sell, believe it or not. Banana split boats. They're $2.50 each. I don't get a lot more for them myself, but they are kind of cute, and you could put, I guess, hot dogs in them. Hot dog banana splits. And here's some cafe ware out of the 50s. I like that pastel color, that pink. These are Tepco, which I believe was in New Jersey. I'll have to check that. $25. I would assume it would be kerosene. Your number one fuel oil or kerosene. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, $25 I'm sure is a good deal on that. You can tell it's 1970s because of those colors on the side, but it probably hasn't been used much, and Sears did make good stuff in the tool department. And then there's a bunch of car parts. This is the sort of thing where resellers come from all over the place. I mean, we've seen people from 5 states so far. There's just so much stuff out there. So there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of different kind of resellers, and I'm hoping that that table down there might be an opportunity for this one. Here it is. I don't like the darkness of the finish, but it's $20. I think that's mine. I know that's mine. Kentucky Lake State Resort Park, which is why it's called Ken Lake. You can see postcards of what it was like in the 1950s with boating, and well, you can look out today and see boating too. It has all sorts of facilities and conference rooms. Maybe we ought to have a big YouTube gathering here. The Kentucky Commonwealth also developed a park in Kentucky for African Americans, 300 acres with a full range of recreational facilities. It became part of Ken Lake when desegregation happened in the 1960s, and part of it is in the National Register of Historic Places because there were not a lot of resources devoted to black people for things like this, so this was a big deal. It's been really fun bringing you a little bit of the 400-mile sale for this year, and I am George the Antique Nomad. You can catch me at the social media that you see here. And you also, please, if you would, leave a comment, click that bell to be notified of future videos, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.